What's up guys, Alex Wallace from Wallace Training Systems, and today we're going to talk about wraps, sleeves, and naked knees. So first let's talk about knee wraps. And how to actually wrap your knees is a little outside of the scope of this video, but more or less what you do is you wrap your knees very tightly. From there, that should allow you to squat more. And the reason being isn't because of increased stability, although that may help. I shouldn't say it definitely won't, but that's not the primary reason why you can squat more weight with wrapped knees. The reason being is because of something called elastic and kinetic energy. So when you wrap your knees, that's the shape that the wraps kind of want to stay in. You wrap your knees very, very tightly, and it wants to stay in that shape. When you squat, you're more or less distorting the shape of the wraps. That potential energy that you're storing, that right there is elastic energy. So these wraps are naturally a little stretchy. That's because as the shape deforms of the wraps, it's storing kinetic energy in the form of elastic energy. I don't want to get too far into this, but just know that when something's distorted, it wants to bounce back to its normal shape, as long as you don't break it. That's why these wraps aren't made out of porcelain. They're made out of a stretchy material. So again, as you get deeper, you're distorting the wraps more, and that potential energy needs to be released as kinetic energy. So more or less, it's going to help you squat more because it wants to return to its normal shape. So remember that when you're putting on knee wraps, you can probably do more. The reason isn't because of stability, although that may help. It's not because of confidence, although it might improve your confidence because you feel safer, but you're actually doing less work for the same weight with your muscles because more work is being done with the wraps. That being said, wraps will also change your squat mechanics. So if you're somebody who's an athlete or somebody who's just training for, general wellness and general strength, I don't actually recommend wearing wraps most of the time. Maybe if you just want to hit a PR or if you want to just see how much weight you can lift, fine. But then I would say that you should also practice in wraps because again, your mechanics will change when you're using knee wraps. It's just, studies have shown this. Anecdotally, I can tell you this is the case. And in addition to that, although we know physically it makes a lot of sense that you should be able to squat more weight while using wraps, sometimes people who are inexperienced with wraps will actually squat less. And it's not because their muscles are in a less advantageous position in terms of the work they need to do, but they're less advantageous in terms of the mechanics that you haven't practiced. So again, for the general population, I actually don't recommend knee wraps. If you have to compete in an organization, say you're a powerlifter that allows knee wraps, you should probably get pretty good at using them because again, physically it will help you do more work. That takes us to our next point, which is knee sleeves. So sleeves, think of it as a less intense knee wrap. So the sleeves, again, are going to store some of that kinetic energy in the form of potential or elastic energy when you get to the bottom of the squat. Again, because they want to return to their normal shape. They're going to bend and then want to return back to this shape. It is much, much less than a tight knee wrap, but even still know that it is taking some of the workload off of your muscles and placing it on this device. And that's okay if you're somebody who's competing that allows knee wraps, or knee sleeves rather. For me personally, the powerlifting meet that I'm doing allows knee sleeves, so I use knee sleeves. Again, because physically it makes sense. My muscles can do less work for the same weight, or conversely, I can do more work or move more weight with the same amount of muscular strength because I have this device to help me. So if you find that a little bit of compressive force helps with your squat, helps alleviate some knee pain, maybe you should use some knee sleeves. But that being said, if you don't have to use knee sleeves, I recommend not using knee sleeves if you're somebody who's, again, an athlete and needs to perform on the field of play, or if you're somebody that's just trying to get generally strong. So that takes us to our last point, and that's naked knees, or nothing. No sleeves, no wraps, and I think that most of the time and most people should be squatting without wraps or sleeves. And the reason being is because in real life, so if you're an athlete or if you're just a general person, you're not going to be wearing these wraps or sleeves. So your squat mechanics should be as close to reality as possible when you're under the barbell. And that being said, as I've said, your squat mechanics will change more with the wraps, slightly with the sleeves, but you are literally just using the work that your muscles are capable of when you're squatting without either of these two devices. So that being said, I think most of the time and most people shouldn't rely on sleeves or wraps. But again, if you're a power lifter and you're competing in sleeves or competing in wraps, then you should get pretty good at using those, because at least physically, in a physical perspective, you should be able to do more work ceteris paribus, or namely when your technique is as efficient with wraps or sleeves as it is without. So again, guys, just to recap, wraps change your mechanics the most, help you the most, sleeves somewhere in between, and naked knees, you're only relying on your muscular strength. If you liked the video, don't forget to like the video. If you found the information informative, if you're interested in seeing more of our content, make sure you subscribe. Again, I'm Alex Wallace from Wallace Training Systems, and thanks for watching.